you. Um, my name is Hari. I'm the host for this webinar. Um, I had cybersecurity for Gavs. Today we are going to be talking about using AI to uncover hidden threats and protect the enterprise. We are predominantly targeting a lot of healthcare customers who will be attending this webinar. So the focus is heavily around healthcare, using AI and in the healthcare realm. So just to all the audience, you can post if you have questions at any point during this webinar. You could use the chat window towards the bottom right, and we will basically collect all the questions and respond to your questions at the end of this webinar. So just to introduce the speakers, that's me in the right, and then we also have Dave Mason, who's Director of Enterprise Security at Dogtrace. Dogtrace is one of our partners in the security alliances that we have, and David's been very instrumental in helping us driving these partner series of webinars. We also have one of our customers, Alex, who heads information security at the Bronzelab Hospital in New York. With that, we have our first poll question, and the question to you guys is, what according to you is the major challenge in security, especially in healthcare? Is it securing your remote workforce, medical device security, insider threats, or the outdated operating systems in your environment? So please do vote, and I think the poll will be available for about a minute. And once you are done, we will basically publish the results to you. With that, let's wait for a few minutes to let everybody participate in the poll. Interesting results. I think most of our participants have, they're worried about the operating systems which are outdated. I think this is predominantly because of the fact that Windows 7 got outdated. And insider threats, again, every time one of our employees clicks on a phishing email, again, that's a big worry for all of us in InfoSec. And definitely, of course, medical device security gained a lot of attention since last year. And since COVID, securing workforce has also gained a lot of momentum. So the clear winners are, you could say it, as you can see published from the results. Thank you all again, and let's continue. So just to give a bit of introduction about GAVS, not going to take much time. GAVS is the leading provider of digital transformation solutions, employing AI and machine learning with our Fortune 500 customers and presence around the world. This is our 2020 informational series webinars. Basically, the intention is to share expertise and tactical vision and solicit your experiences and thoughts. Thank you all again. Once again, welcome to the webinar series. Just to give a brief introduction of our GAP security practice, we have both the offensive and defensive security capability, and about 75% of the whole security practice is actually aligned to healthcare clients. We have a strong advisory team and a lot of industrial recognition. From a practice standpoint, we've been really helping our customers fulfill and secure their digital transformation journey. We have really enabled a lot of customers in securing their cloud infrastructure. We call it cloud workload protection. And we've also helped them modernize their security solutions, more behavior-based, more next generation, including the use of AI in securing their infrastructure and security. And so with that introduction, I would like to basically turn it over to my ally, Dave, to basically explain how Dogtrace is really helping using AI in the landscape. Over to you, Dave.
Thank you, Harry. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is David Masson, and I'm the Director of Enterprise Cybersecurity. I'm in security with the British and then Canadian governments, and in Darktrace in 2016, and Darktrace
Yeah, Dave, we can hear you. Please continue. I think some people are having issues, but Dave? Yeah, we understand, folks. I think Dave has a bit of issue from an audio standpoint. Just give us a few minutes, and sorry about this. Yes, Dave, loud and clear. Thank you.
Shall I continue?
Please, thank you, Dave.
Okay, cool, right. To protect against offensive AI attacks, organizations are turning to defensive cyber artificial intelligence, AI, which can identify and utilize emerging malicious activity no matter when or where it strikes. So in this session this morning, or this afternoon, or this evening, we're going to learn about the paradigm shifts in the cyber landscape, advancements in offensive artificial intelligence attack techniques, the immune system approach to cybersecurity, and defensive autonomous response capabilities. In today's threat landscape, malware is becoming increasingly advanced and targeted towards complex digital environments. In the near future, however, attackers themselves will leverage artificial intelligence to supercharge their campaigns, blending into networks and intelligently choosing optimal strategies that evade detection. To contend with this, defensive cyber artificial intelligence and autonomous response is a fundamental part of the AI battleground where machine fights machine and only the best algorithm will win. Anyway, to begin with, let me just position Darktrace in the cyber threat landscape. We are global leaders in AI innovation and cutting-edge machine learning. We were founded in 2013, and Darktrace is by all measures a rapidly growing organization, accumulating in 7 years over 3,000 customers across every vertical. Our award-winning cyber AI platform consists of the enterprise immune system for corporate networks, the industrial immune system for OT environments, and Darktrace Anti-GINA, the world's first autonomous response technology. We have recently launched the Cyber Artificial Intelligence Analyst, which pushes our world-leading technology even further, automating the process of investigating and understanding emerging threats based on the decision-making processes of the human analysts. Our technological innovation is at the helm of industry research and development and is both anticipative of and responsive to the ways that the cyber landscape is evolving and the new challenges that we are faced with. Today's digital age is one of hyperconnectivity. The imminent introduction of 5G will enable connections with an average download speed of around 1 gigabyte a second, up to 100 times faster than 4G. The increased speed, efficiency, and reliability of 5G will power a surge in IoT, Internet of Things, providing the infrastructure that is needed to transfer huge amounts of data across any network. With 5G in place, Gartner predicts that the number of internet-connected devices will grow from 14.2 billion to 25 billion by 2022. Because of 5G capabilities and download speeds, this new decade could see a cyber arms race where lightning-fast connection speeds actually facilitate the speed of machine speed and automated attacks that land in a victim's network long before they realize that anything is wrong. Businesses are also migrating to the cloud. Cloud computing and applications offer more efficient, affordable, and scalable solutions to modern digital problems and have a hugely significant impact on how network perimeters are continually being refined. Cloud computing is an influential strategic driver of new global business models. Part of this shift to remote data centers is driven by businesses seeking efficiency gains and corporate innovation centers launching digital transformation projects. Often, a single security team is responsible for securing workloads across multiple applications and environments, from Azure to Dropbox to on-premise data centers. The lack of visibility and control for security teams often leads them completely blind to threat vectors in the cloud. Fast-moving, untraceable malware, insider threat, and compromised credentials. Last year alone, there was a 28% rise in threats to the cloud and SaaS applications. What's more, there are steady changes to attacker motivations and the industries that are targeted. Traditionally, hackers have focused on stealing data to monetize and to make a quick, easy buck. Yet today, cyber threats can have much more sinister consequences. Attacks now involve sabotaging and disrupting technology systems that support critical and public infrastructure. As hackers focus their attention on breaching industrial environments, attacks against national infrastructure are poised to reshape the threat landscape across the globe. What these important technological innovations indicate is that huge change is poised to completely reshape the threat landscape. A combination of these factors, 5G, IoT, cloud, and changing attacker motivations, will precipitate a paradigm shift for both the offensive and defensive use of artificial intelligence. A new cyber landscape where more powerful threat vectors are everywhere. The most significant technological innovation is the near reality of AI-enhanced malware that has far superior attack mechanisms for every stage of the kill chain, including automated decision-making, improved lateral movement, and more efficient and evasive data exfiltration. In 2020, we will see artificial intelligence-powered attacks, or offensive AI, hit businesses at a scale and speed that has never been seen before. Offensive AI malware will infiltrate a target's network and leverage available contextual information to direct the attacks, automatically deciphering where the most valuable data lies. We are increasingly seeing sophisticated strains of ransomware and data-destructive malware. Automated attacks against internet-facing devices have huge financial and reputational impacts, and will combine multiple payloads, botnet ransomware, and coin mining in worm-like malware that has self-propagating capabilities. For example, The recently detected XBash malware targets both Linux and Microsoft Windows servers and demonstrates how threat actors are deploying nascent automated decision-making to increase the sophistication and coordination of attacks. In the near future, AI and enhanced malware will be capable of autonomously and intelligently choosing whatever method appears most successful for the target. Unpatched digital environment, increasing the attack speed and efficiency at every stage of the kill chain. In light of the snowballing security challenges that will result from the imminent leveraging of offensive AI techniques, a cyber arms race in this decade is inevitable. AI will become the firearm of hackers, but also the only promising defense weaponry that security teams will have at their disposal. AI is disrupting every industry vertical, and seemingly no aspect of our lives is immune from this new technological revolution. Once we have full-blown AI-powered malware in the wild, we will have entered the era of fully fledged cyber warfare. Let's have a look at some attacks. All businesses, large and small, will need to be prepared for more impersonation attacks that hit employee inboxes. Attacks will very soon be leveraged with AI's enhanced capabilities. To understand the extent to which AI-enhanced spear phishing emails will problematize this threat landscape, we will firstly need to look at what a typical spear phishing attack currently looks like. The image that you see here is of an ill-informed and fairly obvious phishing attack. Though the sender and enterprise are legitimate sounding enough, there are obvious spelling mistakes, such as the word incredible, if you can see it. Mistakes such as these are clearly indicative of a campaign that has been programmed by the attackers who are unable or disinclined to invest their time in ensuring correct and therefore believable spelling and grammar. The example demonstrates how sufficient internal and social media reconnaissance is often dismissed by human attackers because of the necessary labor and time investment. If inconsistencies in style, grammar, and landscape do not betray emails as malicious, phishing attacks such as these are often thwarted by traditional perimeter security. Now, let's see what these kind of attacks will look like with the power of AI behind them. This email is entirely legitimate seeming, and in this context comes from a believable source. As we have uncovered, in the near future, phishing attacks will become automated and highly sophisticated. The distinction between malicious and legitimate content will be hardly detectable. AI will be used to significantly reduce the laborious hours of social network research and reconnaissance that today's hackers conduct in order to launch a highly targeted attack. AI will do this in seconds. Impersonation attacks will become increasingly common as AI is used to automatically generate spear phishing emails that expertly imitate the natural language of trusted colleagues and to create deep fake videos and audio content that is apparently real but entirely fabricated. Advanced spear phishing emails will also become increasingly successful at improving the speed of exfiltration of sensitive documents and compromised administrative access to target environments. In short, AI-driven phishing attacks will become contextualized, customized, and believable, improving campaigns in both scale and stealth. An entirely new approach that acknowledges the complexity of this digital environment is needed if we're going to counter these kinds of sophisticated attack. Darktrace's approach rejects the hypothesis that tomorrow's attacks can be anticipated by analyzing previous threats. Instead, its core technology, the enterprise immune system and the industrial immune system, is inspired by the biological principles of the human immune system. Our bodies are attacked all the time by new viruses and bacteria. Whilst our skin protects us to a certain extent, inevitably viruses will get inside. The immune system understands what self is. It is continually learning what constitutes normal for its environment and can identify unusual behaviors and take action against them. Darktrace technology works in the same way. It is learning and continually evolving and adapting to understand normal activity inside the network. Understanding the unique pattern of life for digital environments, Darktrace can detect and respond to threats before they develop and cause damage. In this way, Darktrace technology expects intrusion and responds routinely, an approach that is entrenched in unsupervised machine learning and probabilistic mathematics. Fundamentally, Darktrace technology passively ingests all forms of data across the entire digital estate to understand unique patterns of behavior and baseline activity for every user and device. This machine learning approach can manage the complexity of millions of devices, and the AI is agnostic between technology types. In light of the imminent realities of offensive AI, and as the threat landscape evolves, autonomous response capabilities will be fundamental in protecting sensitive databases and critical industries. Darktrace's autonomous response capabilities are a world first, going beyond automation and learned reactions to actually identify with surgical precision the most appropriate action that will neutralize threats in real time and before damage is caused. As cyber attacks will soon be leveraged at machine speed, only machine speed defenses will suffice. In an era of rapid technological development in cloud infrastructure, 5G mobile networks, and increasing numbers of IoT, remote digital infrastructure will increasingly be targeted by advanced criminals looking to exploit critical misconfigurations that have left data and operational technology dangerously exposed and vulnerable. While traditional rules-based tools struggle to spot these unknown unknowns, supercharged attacks that have never been seen before, cyber AI and autonomous response is now fundamental in detecting these AI-powered attacks in their earliest stage, allowing businesses to embrace digital transformation while safeguarded against the increased frequency and sophistication of attacks. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to go to poll number 2.
So what is your focus area of new spend for the upcoming contract renewals in security? Is it going to be in Next-Gen AV and EDR? Or is it going to be AI-based detection of threats? It is going to be advanced security controls in the cloud, or we have no spend areas. So the clock starts now. And here are the results. Obviously, everybody's focus is around the deploying new controls in the cloud because more and more apps and VMs are moving to the cloud, and so that is, we're seeing a lot of traction on that. And then of course AI-based detection of threats. Thank you everybody for the poll. And now moving to our next section, let me invite Alex to explain how they are using Darktrace. They've been using Darktrace for the past 3 years, and Alex is happy to share his experience of how he's able to leverage the tool to find issues, security problems at the hospital. Over to you, Alex.
Sure, yeah, thanks, Hari and Dave. So just a quick introduction. So Bronx Care is a hospital in Bronx in New York. We are a Doctors customer since 2017. And just to talk about some of the highlights, so the product has been developed over the well, and we have seen that Antigena has improved a couple of options in the over the years. And in September 2017, they enabled a new security options for email. And in September 2019, they introduced Cyber AA, which was adapted by our team at Bronze Care. And we have seen a large number of reduction in the time that was used for investigation threats. So I'll talk more in details about the use cases that we have here. So cyber threats to healthcare. So HHS has released 1 and 3 cybersecurity practices for healthcare organizations. It's called HICCUP, Health Industry Cybersecurity Practice. And we are utilizing Doctors very well in covering the top 2 threats for healthcare. Number 1 is the email phishing attacks, and number 2 is the ransomware attacks. And Dave spoke about how the product was well matured in detecting the emails and the spear phishing attacks. And what we have seen in Bronx Care, we have seen that the Cyber AA module not only stops the compromised devices, but we have also seen that it also stops the spreading of malware further by stopping the entire attack in the email platforms. And it also gives our Cyber AA analysts an immediate triages so that they'll be able to do context and critical insights while they are doing their incident response work. So, and we have also seen that couple of emails related to Bitcoins and other cryptocurrencies, which are effectively blocked by the email platform. And recently, to talk about the COVID-19, last couple of weeks, we have seen a huge number of emails blocked by Doctors, which were targeted towards our users by COVID-19 related spams. And recently, even there are emails that are coming in to related to the recent CARES Act. So we are also seeing an increase in attacks pattern related to CARES Act, which are successfully blocked by the Antigena AI engine. So remote working. So I think some of you may be aware. So last week, one of the hospitals in Colorado was hit by a ransomware attack, and they found the ransomware spread through one of their employees' work from home computers. So it's very essential for us to monitor the employees who are working remotely during this pandemic. And this picture shows a couple of advisories released by USCERT for this month. And if you could see, there are vulnerabilities in the Citrix, which was released in 2019, but attackers are still using these attack patterns to widely attack many organizations, which include healthcare. And even there was recent attack towards the Pulse Secure VPN. And these are some of the examples which the US CERT is telling all the organization, all the industry sectors in US to focus on. And we have seen Doctors is effectively help us in doing monitoring on both Citrix as well as in the VPN. And this is one quick example about COVID-19. So US Homeland Security as well as United Kingdom's National Cybersecurity Center, they joined together and released a non-exhaustive list of indicators of compromise, which are used by various cyber criminals and APD groups. And Doctors helped us to extract these indicators from the US CERT website and upload it to the Doctors console within less than 2 minutes. And our tool has got capability to detect if there are any traffic pattern which match the particular COVID-19 related indicators. And this is one of the examples. So I think most organizations are part of one or the other information sharing analysis center. It's called ISAC. We are a member of Health ISAC, and we have a taxi and sticks integration available from the Health ISAC group. we use a SaaS service called Soltra, which we integrated successfully into the platform. So this is an information sharing within the healthcare community. That's a member of hospitals, pharmaceutical, and other healthcare companies. And if there are any indicators which is being advised by any of the healthcare sector, which will be added to our taxi feeds, and Doctors was able to effectively monitor some of the alerts that we have seen in our network and proactively block those incidents by avoiding any further incidents happening in the network. So threat discovery. So this is one of the recent incidents that we have seen a couple of months ago. It was a combination of ransomware and lateral movement. And the picture that you see in the top, so this is where you can see that on a particular time, there was a deviation from the normal pattern, and we got a quick spike in the SMB traffic. Hari, I think I'm not able to see the slides for now. Okay, sorry, I got it. Okay. So we saw a quick spike in the traffic pattern. And if you look at the bottom alerts, we have seen suspicious SMB activity, which are moving between multiple systems, which is very abnormal because those systems are not designed to communicate with each other. And the AI was effectively able to identify that the pattern looks like an suspicious activity. And this was a never seen ransomware incident that was immediately blocked by the cyber AI modules. And this is an anatomy of the same incident, where if you look at the time zones, one of the mission that was having a corporate version of Dropbox, it started to encrypt the files, and then it laterally moves on to the systems which are on the same subnet, and Antigena quickly figured out those traffic patterns and found they are suspicious and blocked those network traffic within 1 second. This was the first step it has taken. And next, it also blocked the particular source machine and quarantined it for the next 24 hours, allowing our analysts to investigate the incidents further and do the incident response work. So Maze ransomware. So I think some of you may be aware of this Maze and ransomware. This recently, one of the IT services company based out of New Jersey was impacted by the Maze ransomware. And mostly this ransomware exploits RDP protocol. And we have seen that the systems, the VDI systems, are being compromised by the specific attack vectors. Since most of the systems, the healthcare organizations are utilizing VDI these days. So I think it's important for everyone to focus on how we stop such threats by utilizing an AI platform. And this is one example we have seen a couple of weeks ago. So this is one example how a low and slow cyber attack would be a successful one, which cannot be detected by any of the normal traditional security tools, which Doctors was able to effectively figure out. So if you look at the first picture, over the 7 days period, which includes weekdays and weekends and day and night, we see there was a steady traffic between one of the internal mission towards an external rare IP addresses. And Darktrace was able to closely monitor the traffic pattern over the period of time. And if you look at the bottom picture with the orange and blue circles, on basically these are the alerts which are triggered by Darktrace based on its AI engine, and it successfully stopped the attack from further moving on and by creating, and it start doing any further crisis to the organization. And this is one of the most common thing. It's an internal recon, network scanning. Commonly, some of your legitimate administrative tools like vulnerability management tools or asset management tool, does similar scanning in the network to figure out the systems for administrative purpose. But we have also seen there are missions, infected missions, which were trying to scan the internal missions to figure out what services are running in the systems on each systems that will help the attackers to plan for further command and control activities. And we have seen effectively that Darkness has blocked some of these incidents, and we figured out these are not an administrative activities. These are some systems which are not supposed to do the activity. Over to threat reporting. So Darktrace console has having a lot of options to create executive and project management dashboards. This will also help for the non-specialist audience who are keen on knowing more about how the product is giving the return of value. And we have used this to project it to our CXOs various times, and they're very, very happy about the outcome of the product. And interestingly, Darktrace has also released their mobile app version sometime last year, and we are also utilizing the platform, and this helps us, the management team, when doing the off hours. And with the single tab, we will be able to identify what are the incidents happening in the network, and we can also tell the analyst on what action needs to be done if they need any guidance. So this is a very effective product that we are using while doing off hours activity. So thanks everyone. Over to Hari.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you for really explaining in detail different features, and this is, yes, thank you. So the next poll question is, how would you propose to save money for 2020 considering potential budget cuts? So whether you would renegotiate terms with your existing product vendors, or you would leverage offshore, nearshore SOC providers, would you cancel few security product subscription renewals, or would you reduce the scope of monitoring and stop any new initiatives? So just like, I mean, not the usual question that typically this placed on a webinar, but wanted to understand the sentiment of our users today. Thank you all. So we have the results in front of us. Most of them are saying that they will try to leverage offshore SOC providers. Some of them are saying they would renegotiate the terms with the existing product vendors. Hopefully, very few are saying they would cancel any product subscriptions or reduce the new initiatives, which shows that security is still prima facie very important in the organization. Thank you all, and we would now move to our questions segment. We now have a question from one of our attendees. The question is whether Darktrace AI uses a stylometry-based approach to analyze writing styles in an email. That question obviously goes to Dave. Dave, do you want me to repeat the question, or can you understand?
No, it's all right, Harry. I can see it. I've read it too. Can you hear me?
Yes, Dave.
The simple answer is yes. We do lots of things with an individual email, and that's one of those things. Our AI will analyze vocabulary, grammar, sentiment, style, prose. It will do all those things in an individual email, and also obviously will learn all those things of, say, for example, the users of email on your network, and obviously also with the people that they are commonly in touch with, to therefore detect if there's a change in with the external our AI, that kind of approach. We don't call it stylometry, but effectively that's what it is. Harry.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you. The next question again to you is, next question is to whether what's the scope of Darktrace on AWS environments? So, do we have a marketplace AMI, and what native AWS log sources that do Darktrace support as of now, apart from the common security devices?
Okay, we are cloud native, and particularly we're cloud native with AWS and Azure. You can actually download Darktrace from their marketplace. You don't actually have to come to us to do that. Cloud native, and you can download us from their marketplace. Logs, does it support? Blah, blah. What we're effectively doing in cloud is what we would do on a normal physical network. We're basically tapping, if you like, through a virtual tap, the network traffic in your cloud in order to then analyze the patterns of life of every user device within your cloud, which would be in IaaS type cloud. And we do something very similar with SaaS products. What is really important for everybody to remember is when it comes to cloud service providers, is that they do provide a level of security. It's known as the shared responsibility model. They're responsible for the security of the cloud. However, you, the user, are still responsible for what you do in the cloud. And that's where Darktrace can come in and give you visibility, what's happening in your cloud, and will learn all those patterns of life and therefore be able to see change to them in real time. Harry.
Thank you, Dave. Another question is, I know the answer to this, but still want to basically ask you for the benefit of our audience. How long does it take for somebody to deploy Darktrace in their environment?
That's a very good question. When we do our proofs of value, that's probably better known to everyone as a proof of concept. We usually, on a physical network, we usually leave the software running for about a working week, 7 to 10 days, in order to have some rich context for when we fire the system up and show our clients what's going on. But it actually starts working from the minute you plug it in. Very, very quickly, and I mean very, very quickly, it will discover how many internet-connected devices there are on a network. For a proof of value, we usually leave it in, as I say, for a working week. But I'll give you an example of, and this is from many years ago, where we set up in a power network, a power station, and this was on the IT side. It wasn't on the OT side. And within an hour and a half, the AI had worked out that of their 5 DNS servers, one of them was beaconing suspiciously to a 100% rare IP address in Eastern Europe. There you go. Harry.
Thank you, Dave. The next question is, do machines cure or mitigate themselves from tremendous threats from adversaries in the contemporary cybersecurity arena? I think it's more asking about the anti-Gina module, if my guess is right.
Harry, do you know what? I'm struggling to actually understand the question. Okay, the way Darktrace works is it doesn't worry about the threats that are out there. We're not interested in knowing what the threat is. We don't need to know what the threat is. In actual fact, if you're going to continually base your security on what all the bad stuff is and what the next bad stuff's going to be, you're pretty much going to go mad. So we don't do that at all. We work on the premise of understanding how your network is. And when I say network, I mean your entire digital infrastructure, whether that's on-prem, cloud, email, IoT, industrial, and soon, by the way, hosted. Doesn't that really matter? We work on learning how you are and then looking for change to how you are in real time. So we're not actually worried about the threats that are out there. How we mitigate the threats is that autonomous response vehicle that I mentioned. If Darktrace sees change to the pattern of life, then our autonomous response will go in and basically enforce the pattern of life that existed at the microsecond of change. That's basically how it works. There's various ways: stopping communications, strangling, slowing data flows, or we have very good orchestration with most common firewalls. So it could well be the case that anti-GINA will, our immune system will discover the problem, and anti-GINA will basically say, hey, firewall, you missed it, I found it, but you stop it, instead of anti-GINA doing it. That's how it works. Harry.
Thank you, Dave. The next question we have is, especially, healthcare, we're talking about medical devices and IoTs in general. How does Darktrace basically help securing these devices in the network, Dave?
Darktrace will find every single IP-connected device on your network, regardless of what it is. And obviously, increasingly, many of those devices are Internet of Things devices. Hospitals and healthcare establishments are absolutely full of these devices, and there will be even more, as I said in the presentation. Therefore, it is absolutely vital that you know what it is you have on your network. For those of you used to the NIST principles, you need to be able to identify, because if you can't identify what you've got, how are you going to protect it in the first place? It is still the case, unfortunately, that many IoT devices are simply not designed with security in mind. This is still the case, and many of them are quite simply open connections to the internet. So it's absolutely vital that you can find these things as and when they appear in your network, because you may not know they're going to appear in your network. It may well just be the case that, I don't know, facilities management got a good deal on 10,000 interconnected light bulbs and installed them without ever telling security, because they didn't realize they were internet connected light bulbs. And then bingo, you've got 10,000 new vulnerabilities within your network. A system like Darktrace with its immune system approach will find these immediately and learn their pattern of life. And obviously, and I'm not being facetious here, a light bulb has a very simple pattern of life. It switches on, it shines, and it switches off. So if it starts traveling laterally across the network or shipping data off to a rare IP address somewhere in Asia, Darktrace will see that in real time. Harry.
So,
thank you, Dave.
Harry, to add what Dave says, what we see at our hospital is, when any hospital buys a medical device equipment, it stays in the hospital for 10 to 15 years. That's the lifespan.
That's right.
So what we are seeing here, a lot of devices are still running Windows XP and Windows 7. So we are kind of doing network segmentation along with we are using other tools for monitoring it. And as Dave said, according to Darktrace, all these medical devices are either Windows 7 or XP, and it monitors the traffic like one other endpoints.
Understood. That's helpful. Thank you, Alex and Dave. And so the last question, I don't have any more questions from our audience. The last question that we had is, especially with machine learning, it's trying to learn your environment. What if your environment was already compromised? In that case, what happens, and how does it understand that this is a malign, malicious behavior to start with?
Harry, that's a very good question, and it's one of the most commonest questions we get asked literally all the time. I'd be worried if nobody had actually asked us. To paraphrase it would be, if there's existing malware, malicious activity on a network, will Darktrace's AI consider it to be normal for the network and part of the pattern of life of the network, and therefore not alerting it? Well, in the first minute or so, the answer to that is yes. It will just accept it as being part of the network. But what Darktrace's AI is very, very good at is very, very quickly learning of like-minded devices. And when I say like-minded, I'm using human terms here, but obviously that's not quite how the device sees this. Like-minded devices, like-minded subnets, like-minded users, like-minded user groups. It works this out very, very quickly throughout your entire digital infrastructure. And what it then starts doing is it starts to compare and contrast them amongst each other. And that's how we find existing malware on networks, because in that example I gave about the power station, it very quickly worked out there were 5 DNS servers, learned their patterns of life quite quickly, but then noticed that one of them just wasn't like the other DNS servers. That's how we find threat on existing networks. And pretty much when we do our proofs of value, I would say that in the Fortune 500 companies that we cover, we discover existing malware and threat 85% of the time. Outside of the Fortune 500, that's 95% of the time, which effectively is all the time. Harry.
Thank you, Dave. And that's it from our audience today. And if anybody else has any other questions, please feel free to post them in the chat windows, and we'd be glad to take it up. If not, we had, we got to call it a day and wrap up this session. Thank you again, presenters Alex and Dave, and everybody else who took time to participate in this webinar. This was a really useful technical deep dive, especially Alex showing some of his dashboards from the hospital. Thank you all, and we look forward to presenting more technical sessions, sharing more technical knowledge sharing sessions with all of you. And thank you once again. Bye-bye.